From Indianapolis, Indiana, Ed Schultz, news and commentary. Good to have you with us from the nation's capital here on WeGotEd.com, RawStory.com, and RingOfFireRadio.com. Speaking of Ring of Fire Radio, I was thinking about presenting this about, Mike Papantonio, America's lawyer, and I've seen him in action in the courtroom. He's absolutely phenomenal. And I started thinking about the political cycle and some of the takes I hear from some of the people that I love to talk to. And, when you start thinking you connect. I have to tell you that this is a perfect time for liberals in this country to answer your friends in conversation. I plead the fifth. You don't have to answer anything when it comes to politics. And we are in the middle of a heated political contest on the left. We have a fight for the heart and soul of the Democratic Party taking place right now between two United States senators, one formerly Secretary of State. You know what I'm talking about. All right. I'm sick and tired of the mainstream media saying, well, if so-and-so gets a nomination, will you vote? Will they be able to coalesce? Shut up. You don't have to answer that question. Bernie supporters don't have to answer it. Hillary supporters don't have to answer it. We're in the middle of a fight. Can we get a debate in New York? And can we just have at it with the issues? Yesterday, I was in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I'm living a campaign story. I'm visiting with steelworkers who are losing their jobs because the company, Carrier Heating and Air Conditioning, they're not making enough money. And so they're going to take their $7.1 billion after-tax profit and try to take it to, they're going to take it to Monterrey, Mexico, and they're going to try to double it because they're Wall Streeters and they want more money as it all flows to the top. But the people that I spoke to yesterday in Indianapolis, Indiana, who are losing their jobs, losing their health care, in their 40s, in their 50s, that have spent 15, 16, 18, 25, 30 years at a company that's made money consistently in the middle of the country, this is the campaign. And so when we talk of trade deals, this is what we're talking about. Instead, the mainstream media wasn't there, and they haven't covered the story at all. The word came down on February 10th that they were doing this. I just found out about it on this podcast when I was talking to Larry Cohen the other day, and I said, I'll be in Indiana on Monday. And I was yesterday. And I found a gut-wrenching story of American workers who are being outsourced. But yet what we're hearing from the mainstream media, what about this delegate count? What about that delegate count? Who's going to vote for who if someone gets the nomination? It's all bullshit. The story that is, what are we going to do about working families who one by one are being outsourced because we are on the verge of doing another lousy trade deal? Let me tell you something. These workers, they can't stand Obama. They can't believe that this is happening to them. And so I put a post up on my Facebook over the weekend that got over 150,000 views. And I was critical of CNN by saying, I'm being told by these commentators that Bernie can't win big states. Really? What big states has he lost? Did he lose Michigan? Did he lose Minnesota, Colorado, and Washington? The guy had a three state sweep over the weekend, yet I'm hearing the narrative he can't win big states. Now, if you want to go back and do the math and see where all the delegates are coming on the Clinton side from southern states, that's her lead, folks. That's her lead. And we got a lot of states to go yet. A lot. We got Oregon. We got California. We got New York. We got Wisconsin coming up. Wisconsin. Gosh, remember that? Yeah, I remember freezing my fanny off back in the winter of 2011 when Scott Walker was attacking collective bargaining in the state of Wisconsin, and there were a bunch of other governors who followed suit. One of them is John Kasich, who now has softened his position. No, he's a wolf in sheep's clothing. So stay focused. We don't have to answer any questions about who we're going to support. We're in a nomination fight right now. And it is amazing to me the hatefulness that comes out in the Democratic world when I put out an opinion about the mainstream media. Oh, stop it, Ed. You know she's got it. No, I don't know anything. when it comes to exactly how this is going to unfold. I do know one thing, though. There's going to be a hell of a conversation at the convention. And this is going to the convention. And Wisconsin is a big, big state, okay? And it's in the Rust Belt. And it's been mired in controversy when it comes to workers' rights, public education, health care with a radical governor. So where are the Democrats going to fall on this one? For more, let's go to John Nichols, Washington correspondent of The Nation and longtime journalist out of Wisconsin, and my friend. John, good to have you with us.
Ed Schultz, it's darn good to be on with my favorite friend on this great struggle, because when you recall Wisconsin, I remember that before anybody else came, Ed Schultz came.
Well, it left a mark on my professional career and has guided me, because it really opened an eye, to me anyway, about what these people are all alike, all after, and they have no boundaries when it comes to attacking workers. John, how important is Wisconsin? I don't want to overstate it. I'll let you state it.
You can't overstate it, Ed. You cannot overstate it. Wisconsin, through a lot of luck, and frankly, partially because of some of the things that you covered back in 2011, is the pivot state for both races. It's an incredible circumstance. As you know, on the Republican side, it's become a critical showdown as regards Trump. I'm actually speaking to you across from where a Trump rally is going to take place in Janesville, Wisconsin, the town you know, Paul Ryan's hometown. And there are thousands of people out here for Trump, but there's a huge crowd out against Trump. A lot of the people you probably saw up at the Capitol back in 2011. So it's a real fascinating struggle on the Republican side. And on the Democratic side, it becomes, in many ways, just as important. Different dynamics in both races, we understand. But for Bernie Sanders, who's just won, in the last 7 contests declared, he won 6. He lost the state of Arizona in that mess of an election down there, but he lost it. But he won Democrats abroad, Utah, Idaho, Alaska, Hawaii, Washington State. It's really quite a remarkable pattern he's had in the last few days.
Well, what's interesting about this is after Super Tuesday, he made the comment, we're now getting into the part of the campaign where we feel very good about moving to the West and all these states are favorable to us. Well, since then, he's won 6 out of 7.
And now he's in Wisconsin.
Okay.
And Wisconsin is a real battleground, there's no doubt. It was in campaign, and she is not in any way ceding the state. She gave a very, very strong speech yesterday on the court. She's doing some good events. I'm frankly quite impressed by how she's running her campaign in Wisconsin. But she is, she's up against something that's very interesting in this state, and that is that Sanders was, I think, one of the first 1 or 2 national figures to come out in favor of the uprising.
Yeah, he was. There's no question he was. Now, I want to give Hillary Clinton a pass on this, in fairness. In fairness, she was Secretary of State when all of this stuff in Wisconsin was unfolding. It's out of her wheelhouse to be the Secretary of State and start commenting on union issues and workers' issues at a state level. That wasn't her position at that time. And I think that she has had a good record with union workers over the years. But that whole dynamic of past and where we are now needs to be addressed. And what I saw in Indianapolis yesterday is happening all over the country, where union workers are getting just decimated and their jobs being shipped overseas when companies are absolutely solvent. And so now is the time to address these kinds of things. And I think that this is a reason why I think we really need another debate, especially around New York, because New York is a big union state. John, you know well that there's been an effort throughout all these Republican legislative sessions where they control state houses to go right to work. This is exactly what Indiana did years ago. 4 years ago, they went down the road of right to work, and they told the workers this is going to be better for them. You know what? None of them were buying that crap yesterday when I was in Indianapolis.
Well, it shouldn't be. Wisconsin went right to work as well. Michigan did as well. And you know what? You cannot associate right to work with a boom in any sense. Here's the interesting thing. John Kasich is running for president on the Republican side. And his big pitch is that his state has added more jobs, that it's boomed more. than the states of a lot of other governors, Democrats or Republicans. You know what the interesting dynamic of Ohio is? John Kasich got beat when he tried to go after the union.
Yes, he did.
And when he got beat, you know the weirdest thing about it is, I'll tell you right now, I believe John Kasich would not even be in this race. He wouldn't have any argument for himself if he had won those anti-union fights. Because when you attack your unions, when you undermine wages, both in the public sector and the private sector, you don't boom. You slow down.
Yeah, all right, let's talk Ted Cruz getting support from Walker. I don't know what that's going to do. Trump, a headline out there today saying he's going to try to win Wisconsin with no radio help. Apparently all the right-wing talkers in Wisconsin are all for Cruz. How's it play out, John?
Well, I think you're right about how you say it. Remember, the right-wing talk radio in Wisconsin is the establishment.
Yeah.
The notion that the right-wing talk radio is some sort of, dissident grouping is silly. They're very closely allied to Scott Walker. They were, to the ground with Scott Walker through all the fights of the last few years. So they're with him. But it's important to understand that in Wisconsin, the Republican Party has many, many wings. It was united against the Democrats and against the unions at some point. But when you peel that away, it becomes a much more diverse party. And while Walker is supporting Cruz, and by the way, it's sounding ridiculous after, having run against him and trying to position himself so much against him, but as he's supporting Cruz, you should remember that Tommy Thompson, the former governor, who's actually very popular outstate with a lot of moderate and mainstream Republicans, he's going to the wall for Kasich. And the other dynamic that must be understood is that there are a lot of working class, blue-collar Republicans in Wisconsin. Whether you like it or not, there are.
Yeah.
And Trump, there's a reason Trump has come today to Janesville, Wisconsin. Janesville is an auto plant town where they closed the auto plant. This is a town that's been beaten up badly, and Trump is going to make his play in towns like this.
Well,
so I think Wisconsin's going to have a close race.
I don't think Trump has ever, that I can recall, been on the record about the automobile loan program and what he would have done. I don't know if he was for it or not. We'll follow that story when it all comes up. John Nichols, always great to visit. You got a lot of work coming up with the Wisconsin primary coming down next Tuesday. Be good, my friend. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, brother. Be strong.
You bet. Folks, I want to tell you about PillPack. PillPack, a sponsor of Ed Schultz News and Commentary. Dealing with medication can be a real pain. And if you're someone who loves to take medication regularly and follow your doctor's orders, this is really the system for you. Sorting pills every week's a pain in the neck. Standing in line at the pharmacy, you don't have to do that. And you're constantly dealing with your doctor on health insurance issues or in their office. Let me tell you who takes care of all of that. PillPack. They got a website, pillpack.com. I discovered this new service. It takes away all of the headaches that I just talked about. PillPack, what they do is they work as a normal pharmacy. They deliver your prescription right to your door, and you never have to wait in line. They package my medication by the dose so I don't have to sort pills, and they handle all my issues with my doctor and my insurance, and I never have any hassles, and that's the best part of it. But wait a minute, there's more. It's free. You just have to pay your regular copays like any other pharmacy. Sign up and learn more. Just head on over to pillpack.com. That's pillpack.com, pillpack.com. It's pharmacy simplified. You won't believe how simple your life will be when it comes to your medications. Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team bring you this. When we come back, a conversation with a worker who thought he was going to be able to retire at Carrier. You know how many furnaces they make in Indianapolis, Indiana? 10,000 furnaces a day. They did $66 billion in gross sales last year. They dropped $7.1 billion to the bottom line after tax. And they're going to Monterrey, Mexico. Story with a worker when we come back. Stay with us. I recently discovered PillPack. It's a full-service pharmacy that takes care of everything for me. They pre-sort and deliver all my medications and vitamins in easy-to-tear packets, labeled with the date and time for each dose. Their pharmacists are available 24/7, and they manage all of my refills. They'll do the same for you. They even made sure my insurance was compatible before they transferred my medications over. It's unbelievable how much better my life has been since I switched to PillPack. Hey folks, you've heard me talk about BioGreen Clean. I'm going to show you right now on my airplane just how tough this is. I want you to keep in mind, chemical-free, 100% plant-derived, biodegradable. It is the safest cleaner that you can get, and it's the most effective. Go to our website, wegotit.com, or go to biogreenclean.com. www.biogreenclean and order today. It's time to continue our conversation about mechanical insulation. Mechanical insulation is for the piping systems in our nation's commercial and industrial facilities. Facility owners are burning up billions of dollars through the lack of mechanical insulation on these piping systems. Call the iSave team. Insulation saves America valuable energy, and this team of energy conservation specialists is shovel-ready to save you money. Visit iSaveTeam.org to have a specialist give your plant an energy audit.
We perpetuate a culture of crime all the way from Wall Street right down to the main street in our hometowns. It's worse than it has been since FDR took control of the problem and said we can't count on industry taking care of the American labor. They probably have already engaged into some type of criminal cover-up, and the law prohibits the government from even doing anything about it.
Catch America's lawyer Mike Papantonio on YouTube at youtube.com/GoLeftTV.
Good to have you back with us here on Ed Schultz News and Commentary. If you've followed my work over the years, you know I'm passionate about the middle class and about the wrongs that are happening on Wall Street, the greed. This is a greed story. There's no way around it. I want you to imagine yourself on the corporate board that's making a decision about the company. The company is Carrier. It's owned by UTC out of Connecticut, United Technologies Corporation. By the way, they have a lot of defense contracts. And here they are getting work from the government, and they're taking jobs and shipping them overseas. The short and long of it is Carrier has been in Indianapolis, Indiana since the 1950s. They make 10,000 furnaces at this particular plant a day. A day. They have 2 shifts running. One of the shift workers is a line supervisor. His name is Frank Staples. I met him yesterday in Indianapolis, Indiana. And he's losing his job. February 10th, under armed guards, Carrier came into the plant and said, we're shutting down. We're moving to Monterrey, Mexico. Feel sorry about you. It was a 10-minute discussion announcement. It was termed a business decision, and because of regulations, they had to move to Monterrey, Mexico, where they're going to pay the workers $3 an hour. Now, you're in that corporate boardroom, and this comes up, and you look at the bottom line, and you say, well, I'm not struggling. We're not struggling. We're solvent. We made $7.1 billion last year. Why do we have to do this? Because we're greedy, and we can make more money. And that's really why I'm here. I'm not here to be a board member to make the workers happy. I'm here to shit on the workers as much as I can to get as much money as I possibly can for the company. This is wronging America, and this is gutting our country. You know what I call that? I call that a lack of loyalty to the country. This isn't about being not solvent. This isn't about having to save the company. This is about wanting more for those at the top. I want you to hear the voice of Frank Staples. He's 37 years old. He's worked there for 11 years. His wife is sick. She can't work. They got 3 little kids. Enter his world for a moment.
Frank, when you got the news that Carrier was going to move jobs to Monterrey, Mexico, describe how you felt and how it hit you.
I was kind of shocked that they had actually considered this, or that they're doing this, and really pissed. We go in every day, do our jobs, we make a quality product. We've taken the factory to ACE code, which is the highest standard in manufacturing. All the other employees go in every day and bust their ass. We work through sicknesses. We don't get personal days. We have to take points. So people, if they get sick, then they have to take points, but they still try to show up to do their job. It was frustrating. Here it is, we're making the company millions of dollars, and we're putting out, the quality product that people are come to, love and want in their homes.
What are you going to do?
I have no idea. Right now, been basically looking for another job, something that would compensate what I'm making now in healthcare. it's just trying to find something new.
So you've been here 11 years. What was your future? How long did you think you were going to be here?
Oh, I figured I'd be here 30 years. I figured I'd retire from the company. I have a pension, watch my kids grow up and enjoy them, and basically retire from there. Like I said, here we are, we make a quality product.
So now your world's upside down.
Yeah, my world's upside down, and the other 1,399 people that work for Carrier's world's upside down.
What's the conversation amongst your friends?
People are frustrated. They can't see how, an American company could do this to them. We like I said, it's all about putting out the merchandise, and so people, we come to work, we do our jobs. Why are they sending it to Mexico? And the only reason I can give them is corporate greed.
Would you take a pay cut to keep this job?
I would. I wouldn't go down to $3 an hour.
And that's what they're going to make in Mexico?
Yeah, they're going to make $3 an hour in Mexico, and they'll get $3 for health coverage or whatever it may be. So it turns around maybe $6. Quite frankly, you can't survive on that here in America. The prices of everything keeps going up, but the minimum wage and the pay and everything else doesn't go up. So, it's do I pay my bill this week and my kids not eat, or do my kids eat and then I have to figure out how to pay my bills? You can't live on a $7, $8 an hour job. I have 3 kids. I have a wife that's sick that can't work. So that puts me in a bind. I have a high school diploma. I bust my ass and lucked into my job. And I love my job, and I do my job every day. And, you can't survive on, the minimum wage or even $8, $9 an hour.
Who wronged you?
Who wronged me? The CEOs and the corporate guys at Carrier wronged us. Is who wronged us, because they're greedy. They want more money. That's who wronged me. Was UTC's corporate people. It wasn't local management, because they're in the same boat that we're in. They're losing their jobs. This comes from the big guys, from the shareholders, from Wall Street people that want more money.
Did they ever tell you they weren't making money?
No. We've been profitable every year. Every year we've been profitable. Last year they made $7.1 billion in profit, $66 billion in sales. So you made $7.1 million. They gave their CEO $195 million in benefits back in October or November to walk away. They're making off of UTC, they're making like 125 or 165 million a day. So where's the profit loss? The reason they're moving, they say it's stipulations that Washington is putting on them. It's all these laws that Washington's putting in. The only laws that they're trying to escape, the only thing they're escaping is the EPA regulations on make sure that the health and safety is there for the workers. Because in Mexico, they don't have to follow EPA rules. In America, we're trying to make it green. We're trying to make it better for our children to have a future. And those are the only laws that I can see that they're trying to get away from. Because they have to have the same, they have to build it the same way, the same specifications, everything in Mexico that they build it here to sell it back here in America.
What do you think reverses this?
I don't know.
So you don't have an answer, do you?
I don't have an answer. I don't think anybody really has an answer. You know, we've, as our union leadership has went to Carrier Corporation and said, what can we do to further this, to keep the jobs here? They had a meeting with the governor of Indiana and said, you know, he even asked them, what can we do to keep the jobs here in America? What are the problems that you're having with these stipulations and these rules that are being passed in Congress? They cannot answer the question. They could not give us a single reason why, or even one rule that's being put out there that they were facing troubles with.
You feel like your government has let you down?
It's not much as the government. I feel that it is the greed of the shareholders in the corporation. The government hasn't really, had a part in this. This is UTC. Mm-hmm. We've had Senator Donnelly. We've had Justin Moed, Carly Macer. We've had state senate and higher power officials that are trying to get Carrier to stay here. They're actually on our side. They want Carrier to stay here and keep the American family working. But it's all about that dollar. The only thing I could see is the unfair trade laws that we have. NAFTA. Now Obama's trying to put TPP in. Those are what's screwing the American workers. TPP passes, I guarantee you this will not be the last company that goes to Mexico. We have several companies that are tied in with our steelworker brothers and sisters here in Indiana that are leaving because they're allowed to with these unfair trade.
What are your kids saying to you? What are your kids saying to you?
My kids, I try to keep it away from my kids. I want my kids to be happy and have a childhood. I don't want my kids to worry about why doesn't daddy have a job? Where did the money go? I don't want my kids to worry about that. I want my kids to focus on their future. I want my kids to be able to do something better than I've done. And as far as that talk stays between me and my wife. We don't involve our kids in that. They're too young. They need a childhood. They need to grow up and not have to worry about, is daddy going to buy this week, or is daddy going to do this? I don't think that that's a decision making that the kids ought to be involved in. Mm-hmm. So, kids, when they first seen it on TV, my oldest said, Daddy's moving to Mexico. And my wife had to assure him, no, Daddy's not moving to Mexico. Daddy's job is. So, it's a conversation we keep away from the children.
Do you have any idea what you're going to do?
We have so many great brothers and sisters here throughout the state of Indiana that are steel workers. I've spoke with a few of them. They have promised to let me know if a job opens in their plant or in the market there. But right now, it's basically trying to just figure out what the next move is. Who's going to hire me? Mm-hmm. I have a high school diploma. That's it. I have a little bit of college, but I don't have a degree. So.
Now, you've been here 11 years. 5 years ago, they went to a 2-tier income system. Mm-hmm. So you guys weathered that storm.
Yeah.
You went through the negotiation. You went through the changes. And when it got restructured, did you think, okay, I'm here for the long haul?
Yeah, I figured, when they did what they did on bringing in these new hires or, people newer, and they started making them pay lower money, the first thing us upper tier people did was say, oh shit. Because we looked at it at the fact, okay, now they're hiring all these young folks in here at, $16 or $17 an hour or whatever. They can get rid of us and replace us. So, that makes us think, oh crap, we got to do our job better. We have to give them a reason not to get rid of us. So, it makes the guys that's been there longer, it makes them work harder. Mm-hmm. And in some aspects, we still have people that are close to 70 years old that are working in there because there's no future for them outside of it. Mm-hmm. So we thought that, maybe the company was doing something right, but, again, it's just, we thought it would be a lot different than this.
And finally, what do you do at the furnace factory?
I'm a group leader 8. Basically what I do is I run half of the line. I have 17 people, 10 printers, and 5 machines that I'm over every night. I basically get their parts. If they need a break, I do their job so that they can, go to the bathroom or do whatever they need to do. I'm responsible for what they call run test. And what it is we hook up every single furnace that is built and we run it for a length of time to make sure that all the parts are in order and that they will run when they go to the customer. And then we box it up and ship it out. So we kind of do the finishing part of the...
They make 10,000 furnaces a day?
Oh, yeah. My department alone, on day shift, they run 1,130. On night shift, we run 1,130. And then we have another department that's right next to us. They run 11:30.
Isn't that a staggering number?
It's amazing, you know, that you have workers that can put that product out quality-wise and actually make those numbers in 10 hours. And if you look between the breaks and the lunch, it's actually 9 hours that we put that out. We run anywhere from 105 to 130 units an hour. We build from a piece of metal coming through a machine to the end product. We build 1,130 furnaces a day.
A lot of pride?
A lot of pride. I'm glad to see it come out. I know that I made that. I had a hand in making that. American people have heat and can stay warm in the winter and stay cold in the summer because of something I've done. I've always been that type of person that I like to see where my work goes. I like to see that it benefits people. And you know, I have family members that have Carrier Bryant paint in their house. And so then when it goes wrong, they look at me and say, "Hey man, can you help me out? Can you fix this?" So, you know, I have pride in that. But, you know, for them just to walk away from us, it does something to you. I know people say life will go on, and I know it will. But, you know, you look at the people that are 57, 58 years old that can't retire. What the hell are they going to do? People ain't going to want to hire those folks because they call them untrainable. I'm going to have a problem getting in. You know, so I mean, it all comes down to the fact that it's nothing but corporate greed. These guys want more money than what they're already making. And then they want to say it's us. So we weren't the ones that had armed guards with us when they gave the announcement. They did. So they knew they were screwing up. They knew they were doing the wrong thing.
They came here with armed guards?
Yep, they had armed
make the
guards.
announcement?
They had armed guards with them to make the announcement.
And when was that announcement again?
It was on February 10th, and I believe that they made the announcement the day shift. I think it was around 10:30 is when they made the announcement the day shift. I woke up to see it on the news because I'm on nights.
Mm-hmm. You work nights?
Yeah, I work nights. So I woke up to seeing it on the news, on the internet, and to my mom saying, "Hey, when are you losing your job?" So, you know, a lot of us got the news secondhand. But, you know, I was surprised at how reserved the people were when they made the announcement. You know, that just goes to show you that we're not a bunch of thugs. We're people that, you know, want to make a living wage and provide for our families. Because if it would have been a bunch of thugs that were working in that facility, those guards wouldn't have made a difference. They would have beat that guy. But instead, they had enough respect and self-respect that they held themselves back. And, you know, there was words that flew, but there was no violence. So it showed you how they perceived us. And that's not how we are. For them to have, you know, armed guards with them because they were afraid of us, that tells you they're thinking.
Frank, great to visit with you.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you, buddy.
Yep.
There you have it. The outsourcing of America. Ed Schultz News and Commentary brought to you by PillPack, Communication Workers of America, Alliance for American Manufacturing, BioGreen Clean, and the iSave team. We're back tomorrow.